Well, good morning, folks. It's the real Captain Kirk here. It is the 14th of September, day 181 remote. If you like countdowns here, fall, we have a little over a week left before fall officially arrives on Tuesday next week. Looking at this past week across the world here, 6 through 12 September, again, U.S. Obviously very cold. We were 4.1 degrees cooler than last year, coolest in 3 years, making it the 7th coldest in 35 years. Big headline, obviously, was the blizzard that impacted the Rocky Mountains, even into the Denver area. East Coast, West Coast, again, a little bit above average. Looking at Europe, about 1.8 degrees warmer than a year ago. Again, this big map is year over year. Russia, about the same. A little bit cooler in western Russia and warmer up there in Siberia. Australia, much warmer, 4 degrees warmer than a year ago. In Canada, a little bit warmer than last year, but still seasonably cool across most of Canada, except out toward western Canada and California, obviously, where we're having all these wildfires and still having extremely high air pollution. Overall, we'd say it's 26% wetter than last year, 5th wettest in 35 years for the U.S., and obviously snowiest in 35 years with that Rocky blizzard. The big news here this week, again, is going to be soon to be Hurricane Sally, going to make landfall in the Mississippi area, just to the east of New Orleans. Let's hope that track holds, because we certainly right front quadrant is much worse than the left front. A lot of systems out there. It looks like 7 of them. Paulette's just now pushing off of Bermuda as a Cat 1, likely to strengthen to a Cat 2. Fortunately, after it's already moved through Bermuda, so it'll strengthen. Teddy, down there waiting in the South Atlantic, it looks like that's going to become a Cat 3, Cat 4 hurricane. So that'll be a big one, but again, likely to pass well to the east of Bermuda, hopefully, and just remain a fish storm out there. But Sally's the one we got to watch here for tonight and tomorrow. Looks like it'll make landfall tomorrow to your Tuesday, probably as a minimal Cat 1. We'll have to hope that that's the intensity level here. And again, right now the official Hurricane Center track takes it just to the east of New Orleans. Let's hope that holds. So bigger cities would be Gulfport, Mississippi, Biloxi, are some of the areas that would have higher potential surges. This is the projected storm surge. So again, around the eye of the hurricane, we'd expect 6-7 foot storm surges here. Let's hope again that this stays again to the right. We see the right front is worse than the left front. So if New Orleans stays in that left front, that's certainly better than if it were to shift to the west. Waves are on top of that storm surge, 6 to 7 feet. So you're talking about 10-foot waves. So again, about a 16, 20-foot plus full, height of water, if you will, moving toward. So again, we got to be worried about the Gulfport, Mississippi, all the way over toward Mobile Bay, Gulf Shores, Alabama. Those areas could certainly see some bigger impacts due to the storm surge and waves. And this is kind of a little bit of a slower mover than the recent system. So this will a long, prolonged southeast fetch of water and wind certainly poses some risk to this area for some tidal surge and flooding and storm surge flooding here. So that'll be probably the biggest impact. Could see some 12-inch plus rainfalls there in Alabama, Mississippi. So certainly some flooding due to rainfall with this one as well. So again, it is a slower mover than our last system. This week, 14 through 20 September here, hard to believe, third week of September already. Looking cool. 5 degrees cooler than last year, coolest in 6 years nationally, 16th coldest in 35 years, but a dichotomy of the country with really hot weather west, same old drill, and cool here in the eastern half of the country. Rainfall's wetter than last year, 8th wettest, but that's all really due to the Sally with the heavy rain there. 5-inch plus, again, we're going to see some 10, 12-inch pluses there in Mississippi, Alabama. The rest of the country dry. You look at the precip versus average inside left there. Again, very, very dry for the country outside of the areas getting rainfall from Sally. Looking at next week, last full week of September here, again, dry. 3.1 degrees cooler than last year. Starting to see that cool weather erode off the east coast here, and the above average temperatures are expanding nationally. So 13th warmest in 35 years, above average national temperatures. Rainfall, not much. This would be the driest in 33 years if this holds true here. So it looks to be a very dry week. Good news for farmers, again, because tis the season, getting close to starting to think about harvesting corn and soybean crops out there. So again, it's been a long season, and it's actually been a dry season here too. So if we look at this is expanding drought conditions here. So map left is dry to drought conditions as of 8 September. 57% of the country is in a D0 to D4 phase. So that's the dry to extreme drought phases. Yellows are dry and reds are extreme drought. Looking at this time last year, only 31%. I'm sorry, September 10th last year. And then way back May 2019, we actually had historic low drought. Only 8% of the country had dry to drought. So we've seen a pretty rapid expansion as expected here. We projected this last fall that this would happen. And we think next year is going to be even worse. These tend to come in 2 years. So probably going to see at least 62%. Not to say we couldn't have a 70% type dry to drought across the U.S. Spring, summer next year. So this is just a sign of things to come. We had some teased our fans on social media here this past week doing some top secret work here. So we work with a lot of Fortune 500 companies across the world, but have a new colleague that we're working with here that has a lot of influence in what happens in Russia and Europe and Asia. So again, did some top secret filming here and talked about the Russia winter outlook. This is our winter outlook. I always say this is the easy part. So saying it's the coldest in 8 years, driest in 4. Governmental agencies might be able to do this. We're not sure, but the reality of what we do and what we showed him just was astonishing to him as the detail that we provide. So this is a winter outlook for our friends in Russia that we may be working with here in the St. Petersburg area. So again, we project not only temperature, rainfall, but also the influence on seasonal sales or heating consumption, heating demand. So this was a heating-focused forecast for some of the top 10 cities across Russia, and kind of a slower start maybe to the heating season, maybe October, some pickup, and then we believe, as we said, coldest in 8 years and pretty epic there in parts of Russia. So certainly the southwest part of Russia. Siberia may not be as bad. It's always bad, but not as bad as it was last year. So with that, folks, again, we always have too much fun here at Weather Trends 360, and hope you have a great week, and we will be back here this time next week.